Lesson 5. Though the well-known phrase, a dog is a man's best friend, may not have been used earlier than the late 19th century, the basis of that friendship is vastly older. Widespread archaeological evidence shows that human beings and dogs have been living together for millenniums. The history of man and hound is obscured, however, by the question of when and how Canis familiaris emerged as a distinct species. While there is now a scientific consensus that at least most dogs are descended from wolves, it is not clear whether wolves were first tamed and then, through both genetic separation and breeding, turned into dogs, or whether there were already wild dogs that, over the course of time, came to be domesticated. According to one theory, humans and proto-dogs were initially brought together as rivals, hunting the same prey. Among the latter, the more daring, or more desperate, would approach human settlements in search of leftover food. Rather than being chased away, they eventually came to be tolerated, if only for their usefulness as garbage disposals, or as jealous guardians of the common territory, howling or barking at the first sight or scent of more dangerous creatures. Considering a somewhat difficult scenario, we might imagine a Stone Age hunter stalking a female wolf, killing her and most of her pups for food, but taking one or two back to his cave for the amusement of his wife and children. Such pets would then have bred with the wolves in the vicinity, producing offspring that became increasingly dependent on human beings. In their new environment, these dogs-to-be developed their own gene pool, later deliberately altered by their masters. Until recently, the earliest evidence for the domestic dog was from Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, the upper time limit being no more than 14,000 years ago. In 2002, however, a Swedish team of scientists presented genetic data said to trace its origin to East Asia 1,000 years earlier. From there, it moved westward to the Middle East and Europe, and eastward over the Bering Strait land bridge to the Americas. Bones found in Egypt date back to the 5th millennium BC. From there, it spread southward to sub-Saharan Africa. As the Australian dingo, it appears not to have arrived on the island continent until some 5,000 to 8,000 years ago, long after human beings first settled there. Skeletal remains of dogs in Japan are estimated to be over 9,000 years old. The diversity and peculiarity of native Japanese breeds may also reinforce the hypothesis that the homeland of mankind's oldest animal friend is indeed East Asia.